I think we're going to win so much you might even get sick of us winning. And then you're going to say to me, Mr. Jones, that's too much winning.
We're going to win the league. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to win the league. We swear. We swear.
Hello, everyone. This is the We're Going to Win the League podcast. It's a midweek special, so we're going to class this as episode 15 of game week 14. I am one day going to forget this, so I'll just carry on. Hopefully I get it right. So this week we had two juicy games in the title race. The favourites, Liverpool, went against the second favourite, Sunderland. And then Arsenal had a little game as well that we'll probably talk about some point in the show. So, no, I'm joking. I haven't got no allegiance. So, obviously, this week we're going to start with Liverpool, only because last week when I said we were going to start with Arsenal, everyone was like, oh, okay. So, I think it's only fair we start with Liverpool this week.
Very briefly.
Every week I join, you start with Liverpool.
Well, last week I started with Arsenal. The reaction was like, oh, okay. So I thought I'll start with Liverpool this week. Anyway, let's be professional. Shout out to Chris, the OG. I don't know who he is, but he's the OG.
My man.
And there's somebody else, isn't there?
Shout out to John. Hopefully
John, that's it, John.
Join us for the next episode next week. See what happened with that. But as for now, it's just us four. So, yeah.
Who does John support?
Arsenal.
Oh, does he? Oh, good.
So I'm bringing another Arsenal fan on the podcast.
Okay, that'll be fantastic.
Good, yeah.
I can't wait.
Just to level the game a bit
What
further.
do you mean to level it? You're getting battered every week, mate.
Try and level the field a little bit.
You've been battered ever since you started this podcast.
So obviously, we're going to start with Liverpool, and someone's trying to ring me. We're going to start with Liverpool, and I think I must have been the only one who actually watched the first half and the second half in full. But I did flicker between Arsenal as well and Chelsea Leeds. What can I say about the game? I mean, oh my God, like, I can't even put into words how bad Liverpool were. Like, it was painful to watch. They had no plan A, no plan B. And it was just slow. It was side to side. There was nothing going on the right either. I know every week we say about Salah needs to be dropped. And, it was the right thing to drop him last week, obviously. But again, they played a poor West Ham side. But this week it was like you needed Salah on because I thought I was the only one thinking it. Because even at half time when was it Redknapp and Sturridge, they said the same thing. They said like there's just nothing going on the right. Szoboszlai's obviously moving into the middle because that's his natural position, and there was it was all going to Gakpo. Whatever. Again, even Carragher said Gakpo was. Well, you didn't have to say it. It was so predictable where he was going to go every time he got the ball onto his right, and Sunderland just let him do it all through that first half, and it's something needed to change. The second half come. Salah came on. Did it change anything? I don't think it did. I think Salah didn't really have a particularly great game either. For a player who is on that much money, I think, I don't know, the players for Sunderland just seemed to know what he was going to do. Bit like Gakpo, really, but also Salah's confidence is low. They had a great goal, I thought. Obviously, Van Dijk. This is the first time this season I'm going to actually criticise him. I thought it was poor from Van Dijk. I think he's been a scapegoat all season for Konate and just the poor defensive woes anyway. But it was his fault that game for that goal. Sorry. And then Liverpool's goal. Obviously, Wirtz amazing to get through. This is my take. Obviously, I'm going to move on to Dennis as well, and obviously you too. But I thought he did fantastic to go through, get the ball, and actually strike the ball. Unlucky it was an own goal, but that was the only positive of that game. And at the end, the second positive of that game was Chiesa, who has been shafted by Slot for the past 2 years, actually saved his job this week because he did not stop running, and he's the only player who actually looks like he wants to get into the game, like we say every week. So I feel like I've rushed through that analogy, but I've had to because if I try to break it down, you miss things, and that is what my perspective of that game was. It was poor. Like Sunderland didn't seem to have to play the best. Like they just watched Liverpool pass it side to side. There was nothing going on, no fire, no energy, and Liverpool were extremely lucky not to lose the game because of Kiesa's fantastic interception.
Yeah.
So, Dennis, apologies if I've had to, as the host, I've just gone through that game, but obviously because I've watched the first half and second half, that's my take on it. You said you come through into the second half. What's your take on it, mate?
Yeah, spot on. You're very spot on with that analysis. I think this was a big home game for Liverpool. Obviously, losing 2 home games before, and now this is trying to prevent another loss for 3rd times in a row. But yeah, Sunderland came in to play football. Obviously, Liverpool didn't really had a game plan at the start. This seems like it's the same tactics they played against West Ham. And the only difference of the team was Kerkis. Kerkis started off the bench, and Robertson started over him. Like you said, Gakpo probably got the best service of the entire game when you have Isak at the front without getting anything at all. It's the same tactics. But one thing I've noticed recently, though, like it seems that Liverpool have more possession every single time in the first half. But once they pass the line on the opponent's line, and then when the opponents start defending themselves, there's no creativity anymore. It's like they just keep passing left and right, middle. Like, who's making the run inside? Who's making the run? Who's trying to cross the ball in? It was just It's non-existent. It's weird. Like you said, Salah was started from the bench. He came on halftime, and to me, he didn't look too good either. He kept losing the ball about 3 or 4 times. Every time someone passed the ball, he just loses it straight away. They're very frustrating. Going to that Sunderland goal was fantastic, by the way. I think it was deflection on Van Dijk's feet or on his palm or something. They just managed to go in, but it was a great strike from Sunderland. They deserved the goal. Liverpool was lucky not to lose, and I think Florian did try to equalise. I think it was an own goal that was given at the end.
It was a goal, yeah.
So that was a very unfortunate. But yeah, there's no game plan, man. There's absolutely no game plan from this team anymore. I just don't understand. Like, how can you had pre-season, you played really well, and now all of a sudden every tactic that he's got in the book has been thrown out the window.
Well, before we just move on, before we move on, because I just want to bring this up. Sorry. I think I said to you in the group chat earlier, if I didn't, I probably was thinking about sending it. The difference from last season is unbelievable. Now, I'm not undermining Klopp here. Klopp suffered fatigue. The team started suffering fatigue. That's why going into that second part of the season, his last season, we Liverpool just couldn't keep the momentum, and that's because Klopp was feeling the fatigue, and the squad was. When Slot come in, everyone was saying, "Oh, Slot won the league with Klopp's team. That was a winnable team anyway," but they didn't, because Klopp obviously didn't win it that year. But what I saw different with Liverpool was last season, when Klopp was nearing the end of his career at Liverpool, if Liverpool were 2-1 up, you were always worried that in that last 5 minutes they were going to let a goal in. And then if they were 1-1, you just knew they weren't going to score, because, again, it was back side to side. It was quicker, but it was side to side. Under Slot, he kind of kept that Klopp mentality of heavy metal football, but also learned the team to go through the middle. And it was like, wow, I'm not saying it was any different, but I don't know if it's... I've got 2 options here that I think it might be. Either it can't be lucky for 38 games. You just can't be lucky for 38 games. So it was either luck last season, or teams have very easily found out that they just put 5 men behind the ball, maybe 6 or 7 if you're going to play wing-backs as well, and then stop them going through the middle. So now they're going back to that side-to-side football Klopp did near the end of his season. And it was, if so, it's been very easily found out. Sorry, Tom, what were you going to say?
What actually leads me perfectly onto the question I was going to ask is, so whose fault is it that Liverpool are doing so badly?
Well, there's responsibility for every loss. The team, the players needs to take responsibility for not putting all the defense properly. And also obviously it all comes down to the manager and whoever the tactic that he wants to play. If he's pushing all the players too high up, which allows opponent teams to go on the break, which been happening a lot this season. That's why we managed to get losses now, because there's it's shown yesterday. We're like you said, Kesa managed to save that that goal away. There was no defense, man. Like, it was only Kesa chasing that fella at the back. It was just weird.
Yeah.
There was no centre back. Everybody was on Sunderland's half side, and it was just only Alisson on our side. And what? Like,
Do you know what? I don't think what helps either, Dan. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I don't watch a lot of Liverpool games from minute to minute. But yesterday I had time, midweek. I was off work, so it was actually perfect. But at the 20th minute, they're still singing that Diogo Jota song, and I think they've all the team have actually said. Even Van Dijk said you need to stop singing it because it's kind of off-putting. Because then, obviously, while they're playing football, they've got this emotional song playing in the background.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Well,
you've
I
got
think
players
the
like
reason
Robertson, who's been really affected, obviously, because I think that's why he hasn't played much of the season, because he was his best mate. He hasn't played much of the season. And you can just see, the 20th minute, the team just look, the team has said stop singing that song. Not to be disrespectful, but they're trying to play a game of football. And 70,000 fans are singing that song.
Just before you say something, I think
They're going to move on, aren't they?
Time.
And that's bringing them back.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll be the last time that they would do that at home. Because today is Jota's birthday. He's supposed to be turning 29 today. Obviously, I'm hoping that that would be the closure of that chapter of Liverpool, and let the guy rest in peace. We got to move on from all this. You'll never forget.
Yeah, I was thinking the time's clicking on. The time.
So, Tom James, have you got anything to say? Obviously, you haven't watched the game, or you watched bits.
Yeah,
have you? So if you've watched bits of it, let us know what you think. But also, if you haven't watched bits of it, just what are your thoughts on Liverpool? Obviously, wanting to, get back to winning ways against West Ham, and then obviously, drew again.
Well, first of all, I think Sunderland was a very difficult game because I think they're playing particularly well anyway. But obviously at Anfield, you'd expect to give them a bit more of a push. The first part I watched of it was actually between Arsenal's half-time because I was watching it in the car on the way back on my laptop. So I watched the first 15 minutes and then I switched back over to Arsenal. So during Arsenal's half-time, I watched that bit. And at first, it was a bit sideways, backwards, keeping possession, but not a lot was really happening. It was a bit of a dull first half. And then I watched bits of the second half after Arsenal finished, basically. And obviously I saw the goal. That was the goal Dennis said that was his name, Volts, as you say his name. Yeah, so Dennis said he went round about 6 players. Then I come in and realised he only went round 2 and had a shot that deflected and went in. So Dennis exaggerated. But he said, oh, come and see this goal. He's gone round about 6 players. I was like, what are you on about 6 players? Anyway, yeah. But I think as a whole, I think it's what you're going to say. Oh, here he goes. James says he's always right. But I think it's a mixture of things. I think obviously they're missing Diaz. I think they're missing Jota. And obviously can't do nothing about that. I think they're missing the fullback as well, who was a really good fullback, Alexander-Arnold. But then on top of that, it's what I think I said at the start in the very first podcast or the second podcast. I think Salah and Van Dijk have got old and they're just not the players they were. So they're missing 5 players and their team's changed completely, basically. And in a way, you can say, yeah, well, Van Dijk's been playing every game and Salah's been dropped the last 2, but I just think Salah's lost a yard in pace. I think Van Dijk made a mistake for the goal. He passed it to him, didn't they? I don't know, it was quite far out of the shot on that. But I just think they've got old, them two players, and I think you have to replace them before they get old. And I think it's took them too long to replace them. And on top of that, Diaz was a really good player on the wing, better than Gappo in my opinion at the moment.
I
He was,
agree.
you know, I'd have happily had Diaz at the Arsenal instead of Martinelli because I think he was a lot more clinical. I think he's just a class player, and I think they're missing Alexander-Arnold as well in a way. I know he was more known for being an attacking fullback than more defensive, but he was like an inverted fullback as well, weren't he, in a way?
Yeah, and him and Salah, obviously, that could be one of the reasons Salah isn't playing at his best as well, because obviously you're losing the guy who's very offensive with you as well. So basically, I agree with what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, because they play off each other. It's a bit like, obviously, we're going to Arsenal a bit, but it's a bit like Saka was playing with Ben White for about 2-3 seasons, and they got a good chemistry, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I think that's what. And Salah seems a bit isolated. He does seem like he's on his own. So it might not necessarily be his age, or it might be a mixture of the Jota thing, or. But to me, it does seem like he's a little bit slower, or he's a little bit off. And Van Dijk, I don't think he's just made. I think he's made a few mistakes this season. I don't think that's the first mistake, but I'm not going to blame it all on Van Dijk because obviously the defence around him isn't as strong neither. So, and I think they've been changing fullback so often. Like obviously you have Szoboszlai at fullback at one point, didn't you? And we've
It's
not
absolutely horror.
Yeah, so it's a bit like when we had Partey at fullback. It's just not we ended up drawing when we had Partey at fullback.
That was the thing about
it's not a
last night
natural fullback, is it?
as well.
So-
He Slot made a substitution to bring Jones in and put Szoboszlai on the right back.
Yeah, it's
Fullback,
ridiculous.
and Szoboszlai trying to replicate the crossing what Trent used to do, but he can never do it because he's never had that time.
What's happened to Frimpong then?
I think he's still injured.
He's
you know?
injured.
I don't know.
I think he's injured
still
again.
injured.
It's injury, but
And in my
it took
opinion,
Gomez off
Szoboszlai-
and bringing Jones for some reason, and it took Isak off within like 85th minute or something. Yeah,
in my opinion, Szoboszlai's been your best player so far this season.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah.
out of the games I've watched.
anyway, it doesn't change the fact that the team is very, very poor. They have no game plan going forward. As soon as they can create so much possession, but when it comes to crossing the line on the opponent's half, they get lost. There's no real tactics. They don't have any tactics to pull the defenders away from the line. They all gather around left and right and center, just pass the ball around like being in training. Like how do you pull a 10-man team that's want to defend in their half when you have all the possession and you can never score against a 10-man defense, can you? And you gotta find a way to pull them out from their position. Like, don't put all your players on left, middle, and right and just pass the ball around. Like, come back up a little bit. Bring all the some midfielders out and then find a way to go forward. But there was none of that. So I don't know how many games has Onslaught left. I think the fans are getting frustrated now. A few weeks ago, I thought, you know what, maybe it's just the team. But clearly now, I think it's becoming the manager. Once again, perhaps Tom and James Campbell might be correct at this some point of time, but hopefully things will improve soon.
Going on from that, I got a couple of things to say about the game. So I watched just a bit of the second half, so towards the end of it. So I did watch both of the goals. I think the main thing as an Arsenal fan, I was disappointed that Liverpool managed to get a draw because we drew against them as well. So now you guys can say that, oh yeah, well, no, we drew against them, so we're as good as you, sort of thing. Which
Tom, I think that performance was
really
that bad. Every Liverpool fan and everyone else actually saying no. Liverpool were very lucky to get a draw. Let's put it that way.
But also we played them away.
The other thing I would say is that I was really hoping that after I think it was Roofs was their goalkeeper, and he did that amazing pass through to their forward.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Yeah, no defense at all. That was
basically it was like a 1-on-1, and I was so hoping that that I saw he would try and dink it over Addison, but
he didn't have the skill set.
But I think he got a bit nervous and just hesitated a bit too much, and then Chiesa got in the back and did a great defense for you guys. The other thing I would say, just in general, I do think it's Slot's fault because he's the manager and he should have seen these errors coming.
And he's
I
not
think
fixed
he
them yet.
focused on
He
all
has
the
to fix
wrong places to not actually get new transfers, like Isaac. Like he got all these new sort of forward players, and he like should basically have got one forward player and then focus on the other players. I mean, that's what I think that he should have done. Because you don't need to have all those like.
You do it, Tim. You do it, Tom. Like once you figure out how to, once a new manager
Well, you
comes
don't
in,
need to
just
have
figure out.
Isaac and Ekitike because they both play in like the similar positions. So like, it's
Ikitike
better
is
to
very,
try
it's quite
and
versatile. He can play.
okay, but
Yeah, but you could argue we've got Odegaard and Isak that play in similar positions.
but it's better. Well, yeah, I mean, like, that's the ideal thing. But I'm saying for Liverpool, the first thing is that you don't let goals in, man. Then you try and score goals.
Easier
like,
said than done, Tom, with Liverpool in the
the
minute.
ideal thing in football is to have a great defense first. And second is attack, isn't it? I mean, like that's what everyone thinks about the ideal football thing is like don't let goals in, and then focus on scoring. Because if you do the other way around, then like you're like going to lose every time.
Yeah.
Is this meant to be like a shorter episode? Because
I'm just about to say
he's taking us into Michael Oliver time. He is.
No. I think we spoke for a long time. I was just about,
for ages, James.
yeah, I must admit, yeah.
You can't talk.
I think overall we're all saying the same thing, and this week's probably the first week in all season we've all said Liverpool were poor. There's going to be no we drew with them anyway because honestly they were so bad. It was just, it's just. What was that other guy you see, James? I was watching his little segment on TikTok earlier, and he's
Foz, you mean? His name's Andrew, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just I mean, he's very vocal, but I think I don't want to say the same thing. So, without further ado, let's move on to Arsenal and Brentford. Now,
10 minutes. Max.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Let us know. For me, quickly, I was not surprised that Brentford held Arsenal for as long as they did because I thought they played very well.
Yeah, they did.
11 minutes though, Craig. They held them for 11 minutes.
But they held them for 11 minutes. But they're a strong team. They're a strong team, and every time they have the ball for a free kick or a corner, the Arsenal, were worried. So, guys, take us away,
James.
So Ryan made a brilliant save, didn't he? From corners. That was a brilliant save. I think that could have easily been. Yeah, that could have easily been 1-1 there. And they did held us for so long just to 1-0, even though we scored early. I think I said to Dennis in the car, I said we've scored early. We should go on and get the next goal now. And I was getting a bit concerned the second half because it was going on a long while at 1-0, and I thought they're getting quite a few corners here, and they've been really dangerous from that particular corner. But then the other corner. But what I would say is what I said last time, I think, was that the defence is fairly solid, even without Saliba and Gabriel. I think, unfortunately, Mosquera's gone off injured. So we don't know how long he'll be out for. But Saliba's meant to be back next game, so that's good. But overall, what was impressive is the changes he made. So he brought on, he played Ben White from the start this week. He played Mosquera and Hikakapi, is it his name? Yeah, and Calafiori, and I think Calafiori had an exceptional game again. But Ben White had a really good game. Considering he hadn't played for a while, he came in and he made the goal, really, obviously with a bit of magic from, Maduenke and playing it onto Ben White and then into the box. And Marino, I remember Craig saying earlier a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, saying, is he good enough to be your striker? And he probably could be our number one striker now because he's doing so well. He could probably even get in front of Gyökeres the way he's playing. To be fair, the only thing I'm questioning is he's good with his feet as he is with his head, because most of the goals he's scoring are in the air, aren't they? But that's working at the moment. So
That's the way Arsenal are playing, though. So it's
yeah,
working.
that's the way we're playing. Yeah, and he's doing the job that he needs to do. And I'm wondering if Gyökeres is going to get back in, because it's very hard to drop him at the moment because he's playing so well. He scored the last 2 games, didn't he? In both headers,
Moreno, yeah.
and he has scored goals with his feet as well. But what I mean is, he's not the type of bloke who's going to score tap-ins, is he? He's not going to score in the 6-yard box, and he's not that type of player. He's playing like a false 9, really. I think
he's playing like you're throwing your men up at the end of the game to get a goal. He's just getting his head on things, and rather than making the space like a striker would do. Is that what you're saying?
And I've noticed he's going really deep, like Harry Kane goes for England, and he's making goals. He's making quite a few goals. You know,
he's quite physical as well.
He's dropping deep. He's holding the ball up. He's dropping deep, and he's playing it into people. And we end up scoring through him assisting as well. So he's playing a very good role, to be fair. And what else I noticed about him is his work ethic. He just didn't stop running. He ran his socks off the other day, to be honest.
Time.
Yeah, so that's the other thing.
Do you know what they call that, James? Youth.
Yeah.
You call that youth.
Youth.
Yeah, they call that youth, James.
Yeah. So we're at Trossard still, haven't we? We're at so Martinelli. I'd say I don't think Martinelli had a particularly good game again. I don't think he was that good. And the weakest 2 players actually rating wise, I think Mascara didn't have a particularly great game, but he didn't need to really, because he didn't have a lot to do. Hippocampi played well, and I think they played pretty well, to be fair. And Odegaard came in, didn't he, as well, for Meze, and Eze came on. So, but yeah, I think it was quite good because he made quite a few changes, and we still looked quite strong with the team that we had out. So
yeah.
Tom, what's your take? Come on, you got 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm joking. I'm kidding. Go for as long as you need, Tom.
No. I mean, there isn't much to add. I mean, James said a lot of it there. I think for me, negatives. Just because I'm used to seeing Arsenal score a lot of goals lately, I was just a little bit disappointed at the energy and trying to get forward more and trying to really break them down. That was the only negative, really. But then that's in context of you can't be like that every single game. So there's games where you sort of have to just go out and sort of just go out and do the job, and not sort of do sort of outstanding sort of football. But it's just so beautiful to watch those games that you kind of feel a bit it isn't quite that game again.
Well, maybe they gain all their points day by day. The Arsenal player getting all their points in that street.
Yeah, they are.
What's impressive is we've only let 7 goals in all season, haven't we, in the league?
I just want to point out the Saka goal, by the way. Sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
Tom's had like 30 seconds of airtime.
So on the positive side of things, I think it was great to see Ben White out again. I mean, he played very, very well, and his link-up play with Madueke was excellent. Madueke did really well in that first sort of 20-30 minutes. I mean, he was all up and down that right half, right side, and not half. Oh, what's going on? I mean, I'm quite tired today.
He's going to say field instead of pitch next.
Right side of the pitch. So that was excellent.
Arena instead of stadium.
I think I'm a bit sort of opposite of what James said, in terms of James is thinking that Marino might actually be better to have him as striker, whereas I think Gyökeres should always be put back there. Whereas soon as he's back fit and ready, I think the only reason why he didn't play more again today was because they are trying to really manage their injuries better and manage the sort of time and that sort of thing. I think once he's fully sort of back fit and that sort of thing, then I think he should be up front. I think mainly because of what James said a bit as well, in terms of I think he's better with his feet. I think we haven't seen half of what he's capable of yet.
No, I don't think we have. No,
at Arsenal, but I do think that it's been really good for his sort of for his mentality to see Marino go up and score goals, because I think that will really sort of spur him on and create a fire in him to like go and actually really kind of show his true colours and get out there, and really score some beautiful goals for us. So I'm really looking forward to like some great things.
It'd be really hard.
I know Victor comes on.
Yeah, but it'd be really hard to drop Marino now, wouldn't it? That's the problem.
Well, I still,
I think Gyökeres is the born striker, so he should come on. Like, it doesn't matter.
I still think though, I'm not anti Gyökeres, but I like Marino, but I'm not anti Arsenal striker. I just think what I said at the beginning of the season of that playing from the Portugal league, that's very different to the Premier League. You can see he's a physical player, but I don't think defenders are a lot better. So I'm hoping to see more of him, because obviously Arsenal promised this big bad wolf, and at the moment we've got the little pussycat. So
I think he'll learn. I think that his time off.
It's a long season anyway.
Bench. I mean, I truly think that that he would have used that time to actually try and practice some things in training, and I just think about his game more, because he's had the time to actually sit on the bench and watch the games, and so I think once he comes back out and plays a full game or two, then he'll come out scoring.
The problem with this weather, though, it being so wet, he's got to flick his hair a lot more, hasn't he? So that's taking up his time as well. When he gets wet, he's got to flick it back. He's going to have to put a ponytail in, isn't he?
Well, got to have style playing with Arsenal. I mean, we used to have Olivier Giroud, and he was also with the fancy sort of hairstyle. So it's Arsenal to go through to have like a fancy hairstyle.
But his is like mine. It's very thick and curly, so it stays. Whereas Gyökeres is like, anyway, let's not stop talking about hair. Anyway, this is football we're talking about.
Before we sort of head off soon, what I'd like to ask: do you think you have enough manpower to go on the other competition, like the League Cup and the FA Cup, and try and get through to the
squad
next round?
Well, we both will answer it.
Yeah. So do I think we have enough gunpowder to go through the rest? Manpower. You know what I think there is? I think
gunpowder.
I think we're going to win so much you might even get sick of us winning. And then you're going to say to me, Mr. Jones, that's too much winning.
That is definitely going at the start of the pod, that is. That's definitely going at the start of the reel.
Final thought? What are your thoughts?
Go on.
You think you got enough?
So I've been saying it for the past 2 or 3 pods that I think that we can win the treble.
Here's what I want to know, though. Would you rather, which striker would you want to play? Gyökeres on the Premier League and Champions League, or Marino on the league on the FA Cup? Which one would you choose for those certain competitions?
I would have Gyökeres striker for all of them.
All
of them?
Yeah.
It's going to be knackered, mate.
You're going to be injuries.
If Marino,
if Jesus to go in the FA Cup,
if Marino wants to come in, then sub him a little bit like here and there, but always start him. Always start Victor Gyökeres as striker.
No, not every game would be knackered. I'd think about
but something off, James, you tit.
I'd think about either giving Havertz a game when he comes back, because it won't be long till Havertz comes back, will it? When Havertz gets back, he'll get games up front, and then you got Jesus, and you're going to just play Gyökeres every game, knacker him out.
We got 3 minutes break.
Well, I said start him every game
because
you've got to get him some goals.
Yeah,
I don't think we should play Jesus at all, because he should just be sold off. I don't think Jesus.
He can play in the League Cup, Jesus.
No, he should just be sold off, and then we get somebody else.
Right. last 2 minutes. Not even that. It's going to be very quick fire. Dennis, who's your player of the week? Who's your howler of the week? Doesn't have to be across the whole board, just who you've seen.
I think the Man City and Fulham game, I think, might have been, was it Phil Foden? Scored again. But I think the howler of the week would be Liverpool, the entire squad and the manager. And I think what's the other one? Yeah, it's true, Tom. You gotta admit that when doing poorly. It's not,
The entire squad and manager.
yeah, they're the howlers. Yeah. But
And player of the week? Did you say player of the week?
Player of the week, I would say Fulham players. To get those
Okay.
just 4 screamers, by the way. I don't know how they were, but 4 screamer goals. I watched the highlights of.
Okay, Tom, player of the week, howler of the week.
The player of the week is David Raya for that sensational goal that he saved from going in the goal. Sorry, saved from being a goal. And Archie did have a howler of the week. So
Okay. James, player of the week, howler of the week. You've got to have a howler of the week. It's just
So the howler of the week for me, from what I saw,
I didn't see any.
was in the
howlers,
Tottenham
so-
Hotspurs game.
Oh,
It was actually Aaron Ramsdale because he let 2 goals in, and
Oof.
Tottenham only had 2 shots, and so
Oh,
yeah, and the player of the week I'd have to go for an Arsenal player because I didn't see all the games, so I'd probably go for Ben White, being the fact that he come back and hadn't really played a full game for ages, and he just played outstanding. So.
okay, perfect. And my player of the week is David Raya again because I was that fantastic save. It was world class, absolutely world class. And howler of the week is the whole of Chelsea squad because they were Arsenal's contender and they fucked it up.
Oh yeah, they did mess
3-1,
it up
yeah.
against Leeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and that is
Um,
exactly what we said last pod: is that Chelsea can be very good, but they're not consistent.